Hey everybody. Okay, let's talk about lesson 3, and it's making scale copies. Okay, so I just enlarged this a little bit. It was also in the book or the packet. It says creating a scale copy involves multiplying the lengths of the original by a scale factor. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is that multiplying doesn't mean it has to be bigger. So I can multiply by something bigger than 1, or I can multiply by something less than 1. Okay, if I want to go bigger, I multiply by a number larger than 1. If I want to go smaller, then I multiply by a number less than 1. Okay, so it's telling me, for example, in here. So let's match up our sides first. Okay, it's got a right angle, so I know my angles have to match up. So the smallest side has to match up with the smallest side. Okay, the second smallest side has to match up with the second smallest side, and the angles have to match up. In other words, it has to be on the other side of the 90-degree angle. And then my third side has to match up, okay? So that means whatever I do to one number, I have to do, or one of the sides, I have to do to all of them. So let's do the easiest one first. This is 2.24 to 8.96. I don't have to figure that out, okay? But this one is 1 to 4. So what did I multiply by? 1 times what scale factor gives me that side of 4. So hopefully we all know that that's 4. So that means my scale factor is 4. So I did 1 times 4 gave me 4. To find this side, I did 2 times 4, and that's how I got 8. This side was 2.24. 2.24 times 4, and that gave me 8.96. So that's how I made a scale copy. Whatever I did to one side, I had to do to all the sides. Okay, so let's do a little bit of this together. This was just the warm-up. We'll go through it really quick because it's a really good thing to think about when you're doing a scale copy. So it says for each problem, select the answer from the 2 choices. So it's saying the value of 25 times 8.5 is more than 205 or less than 205. Well, I can multiply it out, which I don't want to do. So if I think about it, 8 quarters is $2, okay? So I know 8 quarters is $2. So I know 8 times 25 is 200. Because I said 8 quarters is $2. I know that because 4 quarters and $1. So if I did 25 times 8.5, would that give me more than 205 or less than 205? Well, I'm already at 200 without doing half of 25, which I know about half of 25 is 12.5. So I know that this is going to have to be more than 205, okay, without even multiplying it out. All right, this one is a little bit easier because what do we know about the property of 1? If you multiply any number times 1, you get that number, right? So if I did 9.93 times 1, I'm going to get 9.93, right? If I do any number less than 1, I'm going to get less than 9.93. If I multiply by a number greater than 1, I'm going to get greater than 9.93. This number is less than 1. So I am going to get less than 9.93, which is also less than 10. Okay, so I want to use that 1 as much as I can. Okay, so this one's a little bit trickier. You've got 0.24 times 0.67, okay? This is how I would do it. This is close to 0.25 or 0.2. Let's just say that's close to 0.2. That's close to 0.7. 0.2 times 0.7 would give me 0.14. I went a little bit above on this one, and I went a little bit above on, rounded this one up, and I rounded this one down. About the same amount, okay? Pretty close. So my guess is it's going to be less than 0.2, okay? So even if I rounded this up and this up, it still would be less than, would it be less than that? 0.3 and 0.7. That'd be really close. It'd be 2.1 or 0.21. I'm going to say it's less. All right, so this one, it's saying which operation. So Diego and Jada went to scale this polygon to the side that corresponds to 15 units in the original is 5 units in the scaled. okay? So 15 to 5. How do I get from 15 to 5? It looks like I divided by 3. So if I'm trying to get a scale factor, if I divide something by 3, it's the same as multiplying it by 1/3, okay? So whatever number, and I don't really, if I went from here to here, that means I'm dividing by 3, okay? So actually my scale factor needs to be 1/3. Now it says Diego, they each use different ideas to do it. Diego did this, Jada did this. So it says, what operation, so how come Diego's looks like this? So his sides, he's got the same number of sides, but they don't meet up. So that should be my first clue that he didn't do it correctly, right? He doesn't have a scale factor because it didn't look like the original. So what did he do? Well, he went from 36 to 26. Well, I could probably figure that out. There's a couple ways. It could be multiplying by something or it could be subtracting 10. He went from 18 to 8. Looks like he subtracted 10. So he subtracted 10 from each number. Okay, we know that scale factor you have to multiply. Okay, either multiply by a number greater than 1, a number less than 1, a number equal to 1. But it has to be multiplication. Okay, so he really didn't, he did subtraction. That's why his drawing didn't work. But if we look at Jada, what did she do? She did 36. So if I look at her 36, and she got to 12. So let's see, if I did 36 times 1/3, remember that's the same as dividing by 3. 36 thirds equals 12. So she got 12. So her two sides look like they work, okay? She did 18 divided by 3 and got 6, or 18 times the scale factor of 1/3, that's your scale factor, gives me 6. So that's what she did. So she divided or multiplied by 1/3. They're the same thing. If you divide by 3, it's the same as multiplying by 1/3. This is why hers is a scale copy. And if we looked at both of them, I know I can't get them both in the picture right away, but they look identical. If I look at his sides aren't even proportional because they, well, number one, they don't meet up here. So his didn't work. Okay. All right. Oh, this question was, did each method produce a scale copy? Nope, we said Diego's did not, but Jada's did. All right, so last part on here. What's the last one on here? It says Andre wants to make a scale copy of Jada's drawing so that the side that corresponds to 4 units in Jada's polygon is 8 units in his. So they're saying that this 4, he wants to be 8, okay? So what does that tell me? It's got to be, how do I get from 4 to 8? I multiplied by 2, so it has to be twice as big. So if I just take a piece of paper, okay, so here's 4. All right, I want 2 of those, right? So here's 4. So if I want 2 of those, that's the same as Jada's, and I'm going to do 1 more because it's going to be twice as big. So that's the side that's going to be 8. All right, I'm going to use my same piece of paper. I'm going to run out of room up here, but that's okay. We can draw that. This would have to be 5 units, okay? Well, let's look at this. If this is 5 units, which is exactly 2 squares on here, that means that I'm going over this way 2 times. So 1. I'm going to my other drawing, but that's okay. All right, so that's his 10 side. Guess I could have started over a little farther. All right, so this side goes up. Hers is 6, so I want to double that. So I'm going to go, let's use this side this time. 6 looks like it's about 2.5 squares. So I'm going to do 2 of those. 1. I would use a ruler if I had it. I don't have one. So I'd go up to here. Okay, that's her 6 side is his 12 side. All right, so if this is 12, how many units do we have to go over? What's 12 times 2? 24. So let's get a different color. Let's do green. So again, I'm going to measure it out just on this piece of paper. It's easy enough with squares. This looks like it's like almost exactly that many. So I'm going to do this twice. Hopefully in a straight line, right? One, that's hers. And he wants twice hers. Okay, so we get the idea. If I get this, it should go all the way around if I'm doing it correctly, right? All right, and then our other side here is 10. That means it has to be 20. Okay, so again, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to mark off 10. So if I looked at my graph paper and I want to do 10, it looks like it's exactly 4 squares. I'm going to do 2 of those. So that would be 5. Or that would be 10 of hers. And his scale factor times 2. And then this is 7. I'll get a different side here. All right, which looks like it's exactly 3 of those. You should be twice as big. And it worked. Okay, so see how it went together that time. His last, oh, you can't see my figure, sorry. His last figure didn't go together, but when I did every side times 2, my figure came together, and all I did is take hers and enlarge it. Okay? All right, it's pretty easy. All right, you guys, what do you need to get out of this? Scale factor is how do you get from one to the other? What do you multiply every single side from? Okay, so the sides are proportional. So what that means is, if I looked at my sides have to be proportional. All right, so that means that my matching sides, my 4 side over my 8 side, okay, so this side over this side has to equal every side over the other. So it has to equal the 5 side over the 10 side. Okay, if I reduce this, I get 1/2. If I redo this, I get 1/2. Okay, so all of my sides are going to do 6 over 12 is going to be 1/2. 12 over 24 is going to be 1/2. So the sides are proportional and the angles have to be congruent. Okay, those are the 2 things you have to know about scale factors. Have to be congruent. The corresponding angles, I should say. Oops, congruent is what I'm trying to write. Let's put corresponding. So what that means is the angle that went between here and here has to be exactly the same as that angle. This angle has to be exactly the same as this angle, okay? So corresponding angles have to be congruent and the sides are proportional. That is how we do scale factor. Thanks, you guys. Bye.